Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than Goku loves food. I'm your host, Arris. Batman has been around since 1939, so there's been a heck of a lot of time for characters other than Bruce Wayne to don the cape and cowl. And today, I'm gonna name 12 of them. Now, you may be thinking that 12 is an odd number to pick. Well, one, that's incorrect. It's quite literally even. And two, just think of this as a top 10 with a bonus. Anyway, the first character to take up the Batmantle beyond our buddy Bruce that I'm gonna mention is easily one of my favorites, and that would be Terry McGinnis. I mean, come on, Batman Beyond is easily one of the coolest concepts the Batman mythos has to offer. For the approximately 1% of you who don't know, Batman Beyond started as an animated series in 1999 and was born from the success of Batman the Animated Series and the Superman Animated Series cartoons. It's based several years in the future where Bruce is too old to be Batman, so he finds a successor in Terry McGinnis. Bruce then supports Terry as his guy in the chair, as Ned from Spider-Man Homecoming would say. It was later revealed that Terry's dad warned McGinnis' reproductive cells were overwritten with Bruce's DNA by Amanda Waller, making Terry Bruce's son. So Batman Beyond is literally the son of Batman. And while we're on the topic of sons, let's talk about another one of Bruce's sons that became Batman, Damian Wayne. Batman fans know that Damian is the child of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul. We first see Damian take over his father's mantle in Batman 666 as part of a possible future. And the idea was later explored a little more in the Damian Son of Batman 4-issue miniseries, where we see Damian take over as Batman after Dick Grayson Batman is killed by an exploding Jokerfish, and Bruce is hospitalized partially due to Damian. As one might assume, Damian Batman is far more ruthless than his father. For example, he has metal spikes on his knuckles, meaning every punch from him is extremely violent and brutal. But keeping things in the family with the third person I'm going to mention is Bruce's father, Thomas Wayne. In the Flashpoint timeline or world, Bruce was killed instead of his parents that night in Crime Alley. This leads to his father going down the path to become Batman, much like Bruce in the DC universe proper. The tragedy of losing their son also made Bruce's mom, Martha Wayne, go insane, and she becomes this world's Joker. Fascinating, right? His dad becomes Batman and his mom becomes the Joker. It's amazing. Anyway, Thomas Wayne is also a way more ruthless Batman than his son. He's happy to kill any criminal that gets in his way. He also tracked down Joe Chill and beat him to death with his bare hands for killing his son. I mean, what do you expect from a Batman that carries a handgun on each thigh? He also impaled Reverse Flash in the chest with a sword. What I'm saying is, this daddy Batman doesn't play. Now, do you guys remember a long time ago when Stan Lee was brought in by DC to reimagine different characters in the DC universe? Yeah, he literally just started from the ground floor with nothing but the name of the character as if he created it. And of course, he did this with Batman. Enter Wayne Williams. Long story short, Wayne had a hard life. First, his father was killed, then later on, Wayne himself was framed for attempted murder of someone else. While in prison, he trained to the peak of human conditioning, and when he was eventually released from prison, he became a wrestler. Sometime later, he asked a scientist friend to make him a superhero suit that allowed him to fly and have bat-like abilities, after which he took the name Batman, found the gangster who destroyed his life, and killed him dead. So that's Batman if Stan Lee would have created him. Listen, Stan, I love ya, and the origin is okay, but the costume is terrible. Anyway, let's move on. The fifth person I'm going to mention is the last son of Krypton, Superman. Simply put, Superman has donned the cape and cowl several times over the years for Bruce. Whether it was to keep reporter Vicky Vale from figuring out that Bruce Wayne was really Batman, or just to fill in for Batman for some other reason. Point is, Supes has filled in for his buddy on more than one occasion. Next up is the third Robin, Tim Drake. When Bruce Wayne was thought to be dead because of the events of Final Crisis, someone had to take up the mantle of Batman. And when Dick Grayson initially turned it down, good old Tim Drake was forced to fill the shoes. Tim felt it was his responsibility since there's no way he could let Jason Todd become the new Batman. But guess what? That leads us to person number 7. Because Jason put on the cape and cowl and ran around trying to be the new Batman anyway. As you can imagine, he was an extremely reckless and violent gun-wielding Batman. During this battle for the cowl and who was going to permanently be the new Batman, Tim and Jason got into a fight, and Jason almost killed Tim by putting a batarang in his chest. This of course led to Dick Grayson taking down Jason Todd and finally stepping up to take his rightful place as the new Batman. And who could really argue with Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, aka the first and true Robin? Afterward, with Dick now carrying the Batman mantle, he also appointed Damian Wayne as the new Robin. Tim Drake then became Red Robin, and Jason went back to his Red Hood persona. So that's 8 down and 4 more to go. Next up, JeanPaul Valley. Most 90s comic fans are probably super familiar with JeanPaul Valley, because when Bane puts Bruce out of commission by breaking his back, Bruce knew that with Bane's rising power, there was no way Gotham could go without a Batman. So he asked Jean to fill the role. The problem is, Jean became more and more unstable and reckless as Batman due to his Azrael conditioning. So by the end, Batman was forced to trick Valley into removing his awesome bat armor. Yes, I said awesome. I don't care if it's very 90s. I still love it. Anyway, once he removed the armor and helmet, he also removed his version of Batman due to his psychosis. Next up is the 10th person I'm going to mention, which is Hugo Strange. In the story called Batman Prey, Hugo Strange is working on a psychological profile of Batman. But of course, like all evil geniuses, his behavior became quite unstable. So much so that he makes himself a batsuit and dresses up as the Caped Crusader. Basically, his obsessive attempts to figure out Batman turns into him running around as Batman. Hugo Strange has dressed up as Batman on more than one occasion, wanting to be a more ruthless and efficient Batman, because he's crazy. The second to last person I'm going to mention is Batman's buddy and pal, Jim Gordon. During the Endgame storyline, Batman and the Joker were thought to have killed each other. Bruce, of course, wasn't dead, but he did lose his memory of being Batman. And again, Gotham couldn't go without Batman, so the GCPD created a Batman armor and appointed Jim Gordon as the new pilot / new Batman. Now, even though I didn't initially like this Bat Bunny armor, which Jim officially refers to as Rookie, it did grow on me, and Jim's normal Batsuit looks awesome. As the new Batman, he fights the villain Mr. Bloom until Bruce returns as Batman and helps Gordon defeat Bloom. And this, my friends, brings us to the 12th and final character on this list, and that would be Alfred Pennyworth. That's right, Bruce's surrogate father and butler put on the Batsuit and became Batman in issue 5 of the Batman Rebirth title. In order to distract the hero turned villain Gotham from hurting anyone, Alfred puts on the cape and cowl and jumps in the Batmobile. He then rams Gotham in the back at 196 miles per hour. Alfred then gets out of the Batmobile and says, "Fear not, citizens of Gotham, the Dark Knight has returned." Gotham clearly knows this isn't the real Batman, but Alfred distracts him long enough for Bruce, the real Batman, to show up and give him some sweet chin music. And that's it, my comic comrades. 12 characters other than Bruce who have been Batman. Let me know in the comment section which is your favorite character to become the Caped Crusader. But just like that, that wraps up today's episode, but remember to go to variantcomics.com to keep up with the show and all things comic related. Also, if you'd be so kind, hit the subscribe button and then the bell next to it so you never miss a new video. But I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.